So I would like to now begin the session by introducing our first speaker. To start the gathering, please join me in welcoming Amit Dayal. Amit Dayal is the Vice President and General Manager of Digital Learning, Advertising and Publishing, or DAALP, group at Adobe India. Amit brings decades of experiences in leading global product and technology initiatives at large enterprises such as Yahoo, Samsung, and Oracle. Amit also led product management at multiple early-stage Silicon Valley startups, including one that he co-founded. Let's once again give a round of applause for Amit Dayal. Here you go. Yes.
All right. So good morning again. It's great to see such a great turnout, and it's a real honor to welcome you all to this event. And this event, I think for me, like, this is really important, because this is one of the most important topics which we face today in technology, which is accessibility. And so this is great to see all of you with your diverse perspectives and your skill sets to come together for this. Adobe is really proud to sponsor this event. We really welcome this dialogue on inclusion. And as you know, Adobe's mission is creativity for all. And we really believe that every person and the community should be able to participate in the art and culture and commerce in modern life. And so this is something which is truly fundamental to how Adobe is as a company. Before I start, I'd also like to thank, of course, the Accessibility Symposium, the Inclusa, and the Inclusivity team at Adobe, and the Access at Adobe network. So there's a lot of people who have spent a lot of energy to make this happen, and thank you for doing that. So let's begin by just facing the reality, right? Is like, why is accessibility important? And some of this was new to me too. So to be honest, this, as I was kind of reading up for this stuff, it was actually some of these things, we who are not close to this don't really sort of see this as like we should, right? And so in terms of, there's some numbers here. There are, estimated to be 1.3 billion people with disabilities in the world, and that's like 1 in 6 of us have some disability. In India, the last census number showed, which was 15 years ago, was 27 million, but that number's in reality, I'm sure, a lot higher. And then on top of that, if you were to actually look at, the aging population, this whole world is aging. And so, for instance, in Japan now, today, 30% of the population is over 65. This is today, right? And in India, I think I was just trying to find out, I think the estimate is, if you look at people over 65 in India today, there's probably 100 million people in India who are over the age of 65. So between all of this, this is not a small number of people who care about, access in our digital products, right? And the reality is that accessibility is still not a integral part of our products, of our mainstream products, right? And so essential things, as digital is becoming more and more how we live today and how we work and how we buy things and how we communicate, a lot of the people in a lot of our population and our people we know are excluded from these core things. This is not something where we can just sort of these are not things which are not important, right? And there are reports that 90%, for instance, of all websites are not even meeting basic accessibility standards. So the state today is not acceptable, right? And a lot of things which were designed, when we build these things to be accessible, we don't really realize how valuable it is. We might think it's actually being built, for instance, captions were built for people who couldn't see well, but now like 80% of all consumption of video has people use captions. Or speech is becoming actually a growing way of how people communicate, and now it's going to be even more and more. And when it was first put in, it was probably put in because of some accessibility requirement, but it's now fundamentally like a better way to use a lot of our digital tools, especially when you're on the go, when you're driving, or when you're doing something else. So we don't even know how valuable these things can become once we add them, when we make the product flexible. So today, the mindset though is still, for most product development teams, for most builders, the mindset is still that it's an afterthought. We build products first, and then we say, oh, does it meet the accessibility standards? Do we sort of that's how it's kind of done, right? It's not, we don't start by really thinking about classic product management, which is who are all our personas, who are all our users, how do we make our products fundamentally out of the box work for everybody, right? It's just like you build something and that never works. As a product management person, you're never going to get a great product if you try to sort of just do something at the last minute, and that too, not in the right spirit. If the spirit is just, I want to make sure I pass the legal checks, it's not going to be truly a great product. And so we need to change that mindset. And I was, as all of you probably know better than I, there have been companies which did that. I'll talk about how Adobe did that a little later. But with Apple, if you look at the VoiceOver feature in Apple, when it came out in 2009 on their phones, before that, people had to buy a third-party reader. They had to pay money for it. Apple made it built into the phone. It was free. It worked really well. And now, it's changed millions of lives by doing that, by not sort of saying, and then, I think Steve Jobs, that was where one of his philosophies, that technology should be beautiful, but also be universally, it should be for everybody, right? It should be really, truly for everybody. And that, made the iPhone a lot better product than if they hadn't done that, right? So I think this symposium brings together all these diverse voices, and hopefully these conversations can lead to changing this mindset from compliance to actually making this a philosophy. So in Adobe, we really believe that inclusivity, for instance, is Adobe is, before it became probably fashionable, Adobe has always had that as a core value, which is inclusivity, right? And we are really committed to sort of removing the barriers for everybody to be able to use technology, to be able to be creative. And our principles, which we have called out, are we work with the community, we co-create with the community, we share very transparently what we are doing, and we bring innovation. And I want to really stress on this thing about innovation and how important that is in my mind, because for example, in 2021, Adobe added closed captioning to Premiere Pro, which is our video tool, right? And when we did that, before that, captioning was something where you had to, if you were a video producer, you had to go buy a third-party tool. You would do this only for broadcast media, content where it was a requirement legally, because it was just sort of, too difficult to do. Once Adobe added this technology using AI into Premiere Pro, it became standard. So any content which was created, any video content which was created, was automatically captioned, right? And then suddenly, YouTube videos started getting captioned, and social media clips started getting captioned. And that's the power of technology, which is when you actually bake it in deep inside your products, and you use, the power of AI in this case to sort of do it at scale. It really changes things without, it really makes an impact at a much broader scale than it would be if we did it, some other way, right? So I think the power of innovation, I hope a lot of the discussions today, later when you guys talk, we really look at how the latest innovation can be used for this purpose, right? For making our products innately accessible, right? So some examples, I mentioned Premiere Pro. I think we have done a lot of work, great work on Acrobat, which is, a lot of the world's textual content lives in Acrobat. And it's so critical. I'm so happy to see that Adobe has, made the read aloud feature, for instance, in Acrobat, the tagging features in Acrobat, and I think later there's a fireside chat about it. One of my own products, Adobe Connect, we were one of the early ones to add captioning into Connect. Now captioning is becoming widespread, but when Adobe Connect did it, it was not the case. And so this is something where we really change how, in those days, meetings were happening and how meetings could be more inclusive or how trainings could be more inclusive. So coming a little bit to India, we are here in Bangalore, and a lot of us care about not just inclusion, but also about inclusivity in India. And why is India sort of, sort of a great place for a lot of this to be sort of led, right? One is we have the talent. This is one of the greatest tech talent, communities on the planet. We have the scale of some of our digital apps to really make a change. We have UPI, which is used by 500 million people. We have, all the Digi Yatra. So there's so much scale with our populations, and the digital has become so important. And then, we have the diversity, right? In India, it's not just we have people with different needs, and we also have people with different literacy levels and like hundreds of languages. This is a great sandbox for us to really make this happen, because if we make this happen here, it'll work anywhere in the world. So I think this is something where we should lead. And now with AI coming in, I really hope that India, along with all of these environmental things, we can actually bring in the latest AI technologies and make India the leader in sort of AI for accessibility, AI for inclusivity. So this is my last slide, and this is the call to action, right? I think one is, this is a call to action to all the people who are designing, building, involved in this community. One is, for many of the builders who are not, we have to sort of understand, we have to empathize, and not just sort of like stay on the surface, because like I said earlier, if we don't do that, we're not really going to be able to solve this problem as well as we would if we were really truly getting immersed into what people need, what do they face, right? And of course, like I said earlier, we have to build with intention, which is to change lives. This is not about checkboxes. This is not about getting things done and calling it done. This is about changing lives, and we have to have that intention and purpose in doing this. And then I think I was, of course, inclusivity. But I want to again emphasize. I would say, if we really want to make a difference at scale, we have to look at this as applying the best technology, the latest models, the latest, vision and speech, and a lot of that should not just be used for creating fake videos and YouTube and, fun Instagram reels. It should be used for this, right? I mean, this is where AI really should be used for good. And I hope we are able to bring our smartest engineers and really get to say, hey, how do we do this so that it can actually become just how our products are built, right? And so that's all I had. And so I thank you for being here, for your journey, for your commitment, and I hope this conference is really able to you can have deep conversations. And so let's get started, and let's really take this to the next level, both in India and for everybody else. So thank you for being here, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit, for that powerful